Hey, everybody, diving into the world of cloud communications today with a true innovator in the space at Avoxi. Barbara, how are you?
I'm good, Evan. Thanks for having me. Great day here
Well,
in
thanks
Atlanta,
for
where I'm from.
Atlanta. I'm
Yes.
sure it's warm there. Um, Stay cool. But thanks so much for joining me. Really excited for this chat. You've a lot of experience in the telecom industry with really great organizations over the decades, from Verizon to Earthlink to many others. So I'm so delighted to chat about the industry with you. Before that, maybe introduce yourself, a little bit about your biography, and who is Avoxi.
Sure, happy to do that. So I started off in the communications industry, gosh, now 25 years ago, more than that maybe, and really started off in the infrastructure space. So I've really done infrastructure for data and voice, all different companies, as you mentioned, from Verizon to or Earthlink, Level 3, Fairpoint Communications, and I really spent my career largely in product management and product development, bringing solutions to customers. And what I do now at Avoxi to pivot is I've taken that infrastructure experience and I'm able to really apply that in a software world and really take all the great things we know about infrastructure and all the challenging things we know about infrastructure and really work on those from a software platform perspective with our team here at Avoxi. So what we do is we allow contact centers to connect more easily with their customers
Mm.
with international voice services. So if you have a contact center and a client in two different countries, that's really where we specialize. And we provide that virtually through a software platform that integrates seamlessly into nearly any kind of cloud or on-premise contact center platform. So whether it's contact center or UCaaS, whatever you want to answer the phone in, we're able to provide that voice service to you via our software.
Fantastic approach. So many opportunities out there
Yeah.
for you as people move to the cloud. Maybe describe the current landscape as you see it in terms of both the global voice communications industry and this shift to cloud, which
Sure.
has happened. It happened at scale, but there's still a lot of work to be done.
A lot of work, a lot of work. Yes. So what I see, we see kind of a couple things with our customers. We see that they're trying to move maybe their contact center agents or their employees to the cloud for communication. So they're going to move their agent desktop and the phone, the actual physical phone to an online phone. And once they start doing that, they're moving their workforce management, they're moving all their queuing. Once they start doing that, once they start doing that, then they're like, oh, what about all the channels that have to plug into that? What about my services? How do I reach my customers in the UK or in India or in Brazil? And that's really where we come in to help provide the voice piece to that. But there's a lot of players in the industry from the platform side. So you have Genesis, Nice in Contact, Five Nines, um, you know, Microsoft Teams from a UCAS perspective going into the contact center space. And then from voice, you really have more modern platforms like Avoxi, but you also have a ton of legacy voice providers that have been doing voice for a long time, more in a TDM world. So a lot of times we're converting that legacy voice over to the cloud for clients.
Well, fantastic approach. And we've been predicting the death of voice communications for many decades. It's
I
still
know.
alive and kicking, still the preferred channel, particularly in the contact center for many
Right.
of us, still, most of us. But what
Even
is
young
the mix
people.
now?
Yeah.
Yeah, even young people
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
telephones. Imagine that. But what
Yeah.
is the mix that you see from including voice interactions, email, chat,
Yep.
social, even? What
Yeah.
are you seeing out there on the front lines, as it were?
Right. So what I see is that now contact center leaders are able to have a choice. And they're really
Mm.
able to look at the whole gamut of channels and make the best choice based on whatever the interaction is. So, of course, none of us now are going to, we're not going to call someone and ask for like a package update. When's my package going to get here from a shipment? We're not going to call someone and check on like a flight status. We're going to just use our smartphone, right? And do that online or via chat or via a web app. But when we are so all those channels are great for the contact center to use. Now, when I have a real tricky problem and maybe I've done like 4 chats back and forth and I can't figure out an answer to my question, then I need to pick up the phone and have a real time two-way interaction. And so that's what I see on the landscape, is that because all these channels now are available and they're all becoming available in the cloud, you can really allow your agent to and your client to pick the best channel to solve the problem. And that will allow you to have an increased level of customer experience.
Fantastic. Yeah, and many customers, large enterprises, have moved to cloud, but there's still a large contingent for different reasons, sometimes good reasons, who have that customer premise
Oh, yeah.
environment. They have legacy technology. Sometimes you call it technical debt, but
Right.
there's still a lot of infrastructure out there. What does that mean for everything in the cloud, and how do we interwork or interoperate these two
Yeah.
worlds?
I mean, I think the great thing is if you have a platform like Avoxi, we can integrate easily into whether it's a legacy on-prem system or a cloud-based system. So then IT managers really have a choice on how do they want to start the cloud evolution. They can decide where they want to start that. Maybe you want to just start by moving your voice service, which you can do easily with the Avoxi platform with really no disruption to your team. And then you're getting onto the cloud bandwagon. You're actually making some nice progress. You're getting some of the benefits of rethinking how you utilize voice infrastructure within your own team, without disrupting like your agents or your employees. But then you can go ahead and move the agents or employees to a cloud-based system for their desktops over time, and then the cloud voice just goes right with that. It's just a switch of the integration.
Yeah, sounds so simple. Of course, behind the
It's
scenes, it
so
rarely
simple.
is.
No, it's also very hard, but we try to make it easy for our customers. That's what we do.
I love it. An easy button. That's much needed. Of course,
Yeah.
we're in the era of AI everywhere, all at once. Super interesting, a lot of hype. But what do you
Yeah.
see as a reality for voice AI
Yeah.
in the channels that you work? And it's very confusing. There's hundreds of different vendors in that space for voice
Right.
bots, conversational AI. I probably had
Yep.
100 of them on my show, and I'm only scratching the surface. How
Mhm.
do you see AI being used effectively in voice and contact center
Yeah.
applications?
I mean, I think really there's two major applications we see. One is really pure offload. So agent offload. So the machine can answer the phone call, and if the machine can solve the problem of the client, that's great. If the machine can't, the call goes on, is routed on, and then is answered by a human. So that's really one major use case we're seeing, and some of our clients call that AI IVR or AI offload. They call it different things. And then the second use case is really AI assist. And so that's really where an AI is allowing the agents in a call center to, you can have a lower skilled agent or a less knowledgeable agent, but they can use the AI to be more knowledgeable when they're answering the call with the customer. And so both of those things are really exciting to me from a voice channel perspective, because what they do is they really lower the cost of every single voice call. And then that allows my clients to ungate their channels. So they don't have to like keep voice only for a premium use case because it's so expensive. Because most of voice calls, the largest cost is really the agent headcount cost. That's the largest cost of a voice call. So now they can really ungate that and say, all right, let's answer the phone figuratively. Let's answer the interaction with the best channel possible to meet the need of my customer, whether it's chat, whether it's email, whether it's answered by a machine, whether it's answered by a machine and a human, whether it's answered by a human, depending on what the question is and what the complexity is.
Yeah, great points. So we're in this era of doing more with less, all around CapEx, OpEx,
Right.
NetEx, people and beyond. Is cloud voice primarily a cost efficiency benefit? Are there other benefits you see, and how do you look at that equation?
Right, definitely is. I mean, a couple things. So first, once you start moving your voice services to the cloud, you can rethink how you're doing it. You don't, you might not, you might even need, we consult with customers all the time. We say, okay, just because you had this certain type of setup in the physical world, you can maybe take out a lot of that setup. You can take out gear you don't need anymore. A lot of those things have been embedded into cloud platforms like Avoxi. Like one of our clients had a separate whole box, like a physical box in a data center that was used for analytics. Like, okay, That's in the Avoxi platform. You don't need that box anymore. That just comes with your service. They might have certain security boxes or physical infrastructure that you don't need anymore. They might have extra phone numbers or phone numbers in giant
Mm.
blocks that you don't need those. So a lot of this efficiency can happen as you're evolving. And then typically you save a lot of time, because instead of having to manage like all these different carriers all over the world and different currencies with different operational processes where you have a lot of lack of visibility, you're centralizing all that into one platform, and you can really have full use of all of your resources.
Oh, fantastic. The other reason for not moving to the cloud in many cases is still around concerns, perceived or real, security issues,
Mm-hmm.
compliance considerations. Lots of people in healthcare and finance are pretty
Yeah.
highly regulated. How do you help them address those issues when
Yeah,
they think about
definitely.
cloud?
Right, definitely. I mean, we spend a lot of time working with our customers on their compliance. And we all have a lot of compliance ourselves, right? Whether it's PCI DSS compliance or GDPR compliance in Europe, or whatever SOC 2. We do all those standards so that when our customers want to bring us into their tech stack, we already have those credentials. So if PCI is your main compliance standard you're really focused on, then you can say, well, all the vendors I'm bringing on are PCI DSS compliant. So we flow right into that. Same thing with SOC 2. So I really think it's more of a conversation on what are you looking for with your compliance? What are the things you're concerned about? And then we really try to help customers answer those questions with how we operate, and then also how our technology is built.
Yeah, great approach. So when it comes to those other channels we talked about earlier, voice traditionally has been its own silo, its own world, separate from everything else. How do you think about integration with other channels, whether it's a WhatsApp or,
Mm-hmm.
increasingly messaging with RCS and other use
Yep.
cases, even APIs for social media? Do you integrate with those, or how does that work with a customer who has so many different pieces to bring together?
Yeah. So one great thing about the evolution of the industry is that a lot of the platforms, whether it's a Genesis or Five9 or Nice in Contact,
Mm,
they're really providing that integration for the client. So we Avoxi plugs in best of breed from
mm,
a voice perspective into those platforms, and then they can plug in a best of breed SMS, and they can plug in a best of breed, they can plug in WhatsApp, and then those platforms like a Genesis, Nice and Contact Five9 really then manage the multi-channel experience for the agent, because they know everything that's going on with that agent. And that it really allows our customers to pick the best solution, the best cost point, the best, in-country experience for all of their different clients, and then that integrates it
mm.
into one platform for them.
Yeah, it's both a great time to be a customer, so much choice, and can be overwhelming though. So
Right, right,
yeah,
yeah.
it's navigating that as a challenge. Would you love to talk a little bit about you and your business leadership
Sure,
style?
sure,
Maybe give us a
sure,
peek into the culture at
sure.
Avoxi, and any advice you can give to fellow business technology leaders in this new
Yeah.
world we're in.
Happy to do that. So, at Avoxi, I'm sitting here in our office in Atlanta. Atlanta is the only physical office that we have.
Mm,
We have about 160 employees based all over the world. We have employees in 5 different continents. Actually, just got back from a 2-week trip to Asia, where I was in Seoul, Singapore, Bangkok, and Kuala Lumpur. And
wow.
and I just say that because I do think in this new world of like we're a remote first company, with remote work, you really have to think about how do you bring people together, and how do you bring cultures together,
Mm,
and how do you really make the world smaller for your company. And we spend a lot of time doing that at Avoxi, and really working, going into market and working with clients and working with employees, and really focusing on how do we all deliver solutions for our customers and make sure we're all together to do that.
oh, fantastic. Well, something we could all abide by. I also must say, I've had hundreds of CEOs in the telecom industry on my show. I could count on probably two hands, maybe more, the number of women CEOs I've had on my show.
Yeah.
How do we get out of the old boys network that has existed in telecom, certainly since you and I
Yeah.
started
Right,
25 years
right,
ago?
right. I mean, gosh, that's such a good question. People ask me that. I mean, I've always had a career in this industry. I was a
Mm,
really young executive. I mean, I was a VP when I was 30 years old.
Mm,
I was a C-level officer by the time I was 35. So I've
mm,
had just a great run, a lot of opportunity. I will say that for me, one of the key things, two key things I tell people is number one, run towards problems. Run towards
mm,
problems. If you see something that's broken, that's a mess, that's a great opportunity to really to make a name for yourself and move your career forward. And then the second thing is find mentors. I have
mm,
so many great mentors and most people will be your mentor if you just ask them. If you ask, I don't think I've ever had anyone turn me down. I said, hey, I'd really like you to talk to me a little bit about your path and what you think and
mm.
how you've evolved your career and what I can maybe learn from it. Nobody's ever said no. No, never, never. So I think those are probably two things. And the more that women can do that, which I don't know if it's necessarily as natural for women to do things like that,
Mm.
right? I think the more that women can find those mentors and make those connections, the more success we'll have.
Oh, really great insights, very practical. And I'd love to hear more about your customers. I know you have many customers, so I don't you have to pick favorite
Oh yeah,
children there,
we have great
but any
customers.
do you care to call out or talk about or
Yeah,
describe what they're doing?
right. So kind of thinking about our business and that we really focus on institutions or clients where their customers and their contact centers are in different countries. So what that has, we originally really had a lot of great traction in our business with hospitality and travel. Because if you
Mm,
think about it, almost all major hotel brands have global reservation centers. They have hotels in all different places all around the world. The people trying
right.
to get to the hotels need to call the reservation centers and then vice versa. So that's been a great channel for us. Airline reservation centers have been a great channel for us as well. But now we're really starting to branch out into other different areas. We have great growing vertical with logistics. And if you think about
Mm,
those companies, they are doing similar things in that they have presence all over the world, lots of different shipping ports, lots of different local call centers, and they need to talk to their high-end business customers when something's stuck in customs, something's on the dock, something's on a boat, something's at the port, and they need to have a conversation about where that high, value item is, or stock of items or pallet of items. And so we're starting now to work with those clients as they're moving to the cloud and connect them around the world with voice as well. So those are a couple of different examples. We're also starting now to work with the financial services industry. So I'm pretty
mm,
excited about that. A lot of global banks, virtual banks are looking to be more connected with their clients. We also have a really nice vertical with luxury goods. Kind of think
mm,
about that environment, not that different from hospitality on a smaller scale, where they have luxury stores. The agents in the stores are busy. The representatives, they are busy helping you, pick out. Evan, I know you're picking out your Louis Vuitton bag or something like
of
that, right? From
course.
a
Yeah, I have it
luxury
right
goods
here.
perspective. Exactly. So they're helping you pick that out. They don't want to be interrupted, but they also want to, somebody's calling them in the store. That call can then be routed to a centralized call center, can be answered as if it was a store by the Avoxi platform, and then that customer can be assisted. So a lot of great use cases really as more the world moves more things to the cloud.
Fantastic. And how do you go to market? How does a customer start with you? Is it directly
Yeah,
just calling? Is it through
yeah,
channel partners or
mostly,
Microsoft, or how do you
yeah,
tend to go to
yeah.
market?
Mostly direct. So we started our business
Hmm.
direct. We started the business really online and direct. So we would write a lot of content on our website, and it would say things like, do you have a problem connecting in Brazil? Do you have a problem reaching customers in Mexico? Do you have a problem reaching your clients in Puerto Rico, or in Portugal? So we started writing a lot of content online, and that drove our initial flood of leads into the business. And we had an inside sales team that would answer those calls. We also have an e-commerce cart, like really a shopping cart, that allows you to go in and buy your number, and you can really self-trial it. Think about like AWS back in the day when they had, you could go in and you could put some AWS compute on your credit card, which a lot of IT
Mm,
people did just to get started. That's how we got started. But now we're really expanding more to larger clients, more project based. But far majority of what we do, 80% of what we do, is sold direct. We are working on expanding some partnerships. We just got into the Genesis App Foundry, for example, and that's
mm.
been really exciting. So we're working on doing some more from an indirect perspective, but most of it's direct. But you're happy to call us, go to our website, www.avoxi.com, and you can fill out a form. You can buy a trial service in the cart. You can interact with the platform in a few different ways.
Fantastic. Well, what else are you up to this summer? You and the team? I guess adjusting from all the jet lag
Yeah,
is mission number one. But
I
anything else on the
know.
radar,
I
personally,
know.
professionally?
Yeah, no, so we went, so you know what I try to do, and this is sort of a maybe something that's more accepted in the modern world than it was maybe 20 years ago, is I have three kids, and I try when I travel, when I take my big long international trips, I try to like put a family trip like on one end of it.
Mm,
So number one, they can see what I'm doing, but I'm not gone for so long, right? And I can kind of, get a little bit of adjusted to whatever time zone I'm in. So I took my family to the front end of my Asia trip. So they went to Seoul, Korea with me.
wow.
And it was really fun. It was amazing. I mean, it's amazing because I think what South Korea has done, just in like 25 years is kind of is just phenomenal, and all the technology and all the development, and they've really come so far. So that was very fun. That was a really fun trip for us.
I bet. Wow, what an
Yeah.
extraordinary opportunity.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed this chat. Congratulations on all the success and onwards and upwards. Reach out, everyone, to Avoxi. You do put out great educational content, not just marketing content. So I appreciate that as well. Thanks, Barbara.
Thank you. I appreciate it.